Hello everyone and welcome to the Hope Collective. Today we're doing another pick a card and I'm starting with the Frequency Tarot deck to pull out some significator cards to indicate each of our piles. Shuffling that now. As you know, if you've been here before, Spirit tends to get pretty long-winded with me. So if you come back for pile 2 or pile 3, you might see me on a different background if they end up getting filmed on a different day and released as a different video. Okay, so we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Pile 1, we have number 75, Transcendence. Wow. Love that. Pile 2, we have number 66, The Selves. That is pretty cool. And for pile 3, is this in reverse, Spirit? Yes. Okay, so we have the Uplift frequency, number 65. Pretty interesting that that's right before number 66, but it did come out in reverse. Maybe some of you are needing some upliftment. I guess we'll find out when we film pile 3. So thank you for joining me today. Take your time picking your pile, and I will see you at your group. You can use the timestamps below, or if I have filmed these as separate piles, you'll find links below once each video is posted. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your reading. This is your group if you chose the Uplift card from the Frequency Tarot, number 65 from the Frequency Tarot, which did come out in reverse. So that's what it looks like upright. Uplift, number 65. And today I'm asking Spirit to help me bring through messages from the higher selves of this collective for the highest and best good, the greater good of this collective. I'm going to start off by reading the description for the reversed meaning of the Uplift card in the Frequency Tarot guidebook, and then we'll pull some other tarot and oracle cards. So the guidebook for this deck says, if you have drawn this card in reverse, someone in your life is in need of a pick-me-up. Send them something inspirational. Help them to be spontaneous by inviting them to do something fun and unusual. If at all possible, find a way to make them laugh. This person in your life would greatly benefit by a random act of kindness. You could give them a gift or do them an act of service. You could offer them words of affirmation or physical affection or spend quality time with them. Do you know which person this is? When you find out, take some action. And I noticed that the upright meaning of this card does suggest that you are in need of a pick-me-up instead. So I'm just going to read the upright description because with it having come out in reverse, I do believe that for most of us in this group, most of you in this group, this is going to be related to lifting someone else up in a situation with someone else. But for many of us, there's also an element of how it lifts us up to uplift others. And the description of the card may also give you some inspiration for what you can bring into this other person's life and how you can serve both yourself and them at the same time. So it says, if you have drawn this card upright, you are in need of a pick-me-up. Seek out something inspirational. Ask others to send you something that they find inspirational. Stop allowing your environment to predetermine your mood. Chances are high that you're working too hard. What interests you the most? Sit down and write a list of everything that you love. All the things, people, places, and concepts that cause you to feel good. Do something fun and unusual. This is a good time to be spontaneous. And most especially, seek out the things that make you laugh. So that last message about finding things that make the other person laugh or that will bring you to laughter and joy together. And also that part about taking a break from work together. And in terms of writing a list of everything that you love, thinking about things that both you love and the other person involved love, or things that you can help them add more of to their life or help them focus on, help them make time for. An act of service can definitely be taking something off their plate and specifically for the purpose, specifically in the service of them having time to do something that they love, that they haven't had a chance to enjoy or made time proactively themselves for them to be able to enjoy in a while. And that could even be something you have a conversation with them about. What are some things that make you feel good that you feel like you've been short on in your life lately? Let's work on bringing those into your life or our lives mutually together. It's such a beautiful message for our collective. It's very timely for my life at the moment, and it's such a beautiful message for our collective because there can be this mood permeating a lot of social environments of everyone being a little too scared to come out of their shells and open up to one another, a little too scared of rejection and risk and being hurt to notice that what the payoffs of that risk could be. Both of these, Spirit, or just the one? Okay, so that one, being told to put that over there. And that one, okay. In reverse or upright? In reverse. Okay, so we have the Page of Shells reversed. That's the Page of Cups. Intuition and inspiration. Incredible that inspiration is coming up right away when that was such a huge keyword in the uplift card message. Let's see what the other cards have to say to clarify this. The Queen of Acorns, passion and creativity. Queen of Wand. Wow. So with the Page of Cups coming up in reverse and the Queen of Acorns, the Queen of Wands, coming out upright on either side of this card, it's almost like these are the two opposing energies. The passion, creativity, inspiration, the fire within yourself that the Queen of Wands has so abundantly lit. And the Page of Cups in reverse being a little bit of a sense of depletion of the sense of possibility and potential and magic in life. And with the cups being the water element, the wands being the fire element, bringing these two together to nourish both the fire of creativity and the water of cleansing and emotions and nourishment. And we have the Tower, number 16 in the major arcana, which reduces to 7 in numerology. The 65 in the uplift card reduces to 11 in numerology. And we have release and revelation in the Tower card. So a lot of you, someone in your life is going through a Tower moment. This might be something that you are both going through, but there's a big emphasis on pause and notice that this other person in your life is going through this. For some of you, you may actually have been wondering, like, why has this person been so out of touch? Do they not want to be friends anymore? Or that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be that extreme as do they not want to be friends anymore, or this family member is giving me the cold shoulder, or what have you. But there is that vibe for some of you that there is almost this sense of being slighted by this person withdrawing. And I'm not saying that someone withdrawing and self-isolating is right, especially when folks know that they are doing that against their own best interests, or know that they might be hurting the other people in their lives by doing that. But with many connections, it is worth giving them a chance to kind of come out of their tower, or to accept you as a visitor to their tower. Of course, that's quite a different tower than the Tower in the Tower card. But that sense of someone feeling kind of like Rapunzel, or a hermit, or a lighthouse keeper isolated in their lonely tower, and it feeling like a risk to try and be the one to reach out to them, but it being a risk that could pay off, and it's worth finding out rather than letting the situation stagnate. That's a big sense that I'm getting. The Tower in the Tower card is a tower that is crumbling. And this person may be someone who is clinging to a metaphorical tower situation that is crumbling. And that might be where the withdrawal or reservation, the reticence or self-isolation is coming from. But I'm really getting a strong strong sense with the way the Tower card is coming through today of someone kind of hermiting away, you know, hiding away in their apartment and not reaching out to people that they probably should know are available to them as resources. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes we need a little shake on the shoulders to be reminded, like, hey, these people in your life will actually be there for you and with you if you give them a chance to be. I've brought the camera a little bit closer to the cards now because it didn't seem quite clear enough the way the card images were focused on before. Shuffling the Spirit Song Tarot a little more, we have the 8 of Feathers, so that's the 8 of Swords, Courage and Solutions. I really feel for the mouse on this card. The mouse on this card looks a little bit stressed out to me. And the 8 of Swords speaks to the way this individual in your life has potentially kind of trapped themselves in their own tower, without meaning to, of course, but, or perhaps without realizing that's what they're doing. But the 8 of Swords speaks to being trapped in fear, trapped in negative beliefs, trapped in one's own mind or in mental constructs, feeling trapped, but the things that one perceives as constricting oneself not being 100% real or accurate or as solid or unmovable as they appear to the person who believes they're within them. Excuse me, gosh. Hence courage and solutions, because when we discover that there is a certain artificiality to that trap we have believed we've been in, that confinement we've believed we've been in, that immediately opens up solutions to us, but ones that require courage, because there is some element of fear there that requires just a choice of bravery to step outside of the familiar confines in this case. Some of you, there's the energy of someone coming through just so strongly who doesn't want to be alone, but has been enforcing aloneness on themselves. This is coming through so strongly. It's kind of taking over my heart space a little bit. They don't want to be alone, but they've been enforcing aloneness on themselves. Spirit guided me to another card in the Spirit Song Tarot. We have the 5 of Crystals. That's the 5 of Pentacles, persistence and new possibilities. I love the ladybug of good luck here. It looks like a little smile even on the ladybug's back. You can definitely bring a smile to this person's face and your own in one fell swoop. And persistence, be persistent with this person. Of course, if things do get to a point where it feels like it's depleting you, or if you're already at a point where you feel like this is not working for you, you're in too much of a support role and not giving enough to yourself, then things need to be adjusted in your life. Something's got to give. And I'm not advocating for you to stay in that dynamic. But if this is your pile, then this is someone where a second chance is merited. And if you're feeling that's not your situation, then it's possible that this is not your pile, or that this is actually referring to someone else in your life, or that roles are reversed and it's referring to yourself. For most people drawn to this pile, this is going to be about someone else, though. Maybe you've even been wondering about what's going on in this connection, and that's why you were drawn to this reading. I'm feeling really, really, really strongly drawn, exceptionally strongly drawn to read the 5 of Crystals, meaning in this deck. 5 of Crystals, Ladybug, persistence and new possibilities. A guardian of wishes fulfilled, Ladybug delivers luck and protection. She's savvy in eliminating the spirit during times of stress and worry. How fitting. Excuse me, gosh. Luck and protection, I'm also getting a sense of this connection being protected for many of you. Possibly spiritually protected, possibly, like there's a certain sense of safety here, like it is safe to reach out to this person. You're not going to get hurt and drained the way that you have been by others before. If that is a dynamic you've experienced and it's making you scared to be persistent in this connection. And there may be an element of you feeling very protective of this person as well, but being scared to sort of take the leash or the collar off of those feelings, take the muzzle off of those feelings, either because of this being a newer connection and you not being sure if that's going to be welcomed by the other person, or because of that self-protectiveness, like, I really care about this person, but I'm so scared I'm going to get hurt. Or that they're not really going to receive it if I show them this caring and it's not going to be reciprocated. There's always an element of risk in relationships. I can't guarantee what the outcome is, but the message from Spirit strongly is that it is worth it to give this a shot. Even if it doesn't go in the most ideal fashion, even if the outcome is not the most optimal outcome, it will have been worth this to give it a shot, and you are capable of protecting yourself, and you are protected by Spirit and your spirit guides and your ancestors. Some of you also have family and friends in the living realm who are protective of you and will speak to you or be people you can go to if you do feel like you are slipping into a draining territory with this relationship. You can kind of anchor and ground in the other connections that you have that you trust. And some of them might even be mutual friends that are kind of this circle of protection around this relationship. For others of you, that circle of protection is more spiritual. Your spirit team's looking out for both of you because they know that this connection, this friendship, can be mutually beneficial for the two of you. And so they're making sure that there's no interference with it. Whew. She's savvy in illuminating the spirit during times of stress and worry, clearly needed right now. Laced with energies of renewal, Ladybug is your guide in designing a path for newfound happiness. Realign yourself with what you need to in order to move upward and onward, and new opportunities will present themselves. Take time to review what you want in life and believe that you can achieve it. Persistence during challenging times, finding strength, new possibilities, and a turning point are key words here. So for some of you, this is a turning point in the relationship with this person. And with that, guide in designing a path for newfound happiness. For many of you, this is about changing and transforming and realigning the way that you relate to relationships. Recognizing with the Eight of Swords is all about someone who feels powerless, but the only thing that's trapping them is actually that they have not seen and recognized and grasped and taken hold of their true power in their life and in their situation. And you are reorienting and repositioning yourself in your relationship with yourself and in your mind, in your self-concept and your view of yourself, to recognize, wait a minute, I am not at the mercy of my relationships. I am not at the mercy of the other parties in my relationships. I do not have to be a victim to them. I am actually a powerful influence to how my relationships turn out. And I actually genuinely, from within me, from deep in my gut, want to put my best foot forward and influence this other person in a positive way because I care about them and myself, not because I care about them at the expense of myself. And I am stepping into my self-worth in such a way that I truly am grounded in the awareness that caring about someone else does not have to and should not come at the expense of myself. And I'm going to treat this person lovingly and treat myself lovingly at the same time. I am realizing that I've maybe been holding back from caring about this person, or perhaps not holding back, but relating to the things I do for this person from an energy of self-sacrifice left over from old relationships or the way I grew up. And now I am stepping into a new paradigm of, oh, I can actually exhale. It's safe for me to do for others because I don't have to do so from a position or an attitude or approach or energy of self-sacrifice. I can actually ask for what I want and need in return. I can express my boundaries and enforce them. So that shift in, my perception and my treatment of other people as worthy is not coming from a self-effacing place, is really happening for this group. And it feels like new foreign territory for this group, like a new skin that you're growing into, perhaps, to recognize my own self-worth does not actually have to be protected by myself staying locked in a tower or by this really thick shell of armor. It's actually safe for me to step out into the sun, to express passion and enthusiasm in relationships. If it's not reciprocated, I can walk away, but it's safe for me to give relationships a chance for that to be reciprocated. Because I want relationships that involve that, so I'm willing to put that foot forward instead of solely waiting for other people to put that foot forward themselves before I reciprocate. And I know how to protect myself and set boundaries, enforce them, and walk away if they're not respected. If my cup isn't being filled in return, I know what to do, but I'm going to see if I can actually fill up this other person's cup without it being at expense to myself. I got a little bit lost in expressing that point, but the point was showing other people that I find them to be worthy of care is not inherently at the expense of my own self-worth. I don't have to protect that by isolating myself or by only caring so much. I can care fully about other people to the point of, being devastated on their behalf, to the point of needing other people. We all need each other, and we're so scared to admit that. But I can actually care to that extent and still be grounded in my own worth, the fact that I am worthy on my own, even at the same time that I do need other people. That's not what I need them for. That's what I'm familiar with, is that my proof of self-worth, with the way I was conditioned, had to come from other people's approval and validation, praise, so on and so forth. Their opinion of me was what formed my opinion of myself, and that was where I was deriving a sense of self-worth. So I never truly felt like I was good enough. I felt like I was always in the process of earning it. But now I'm at this sort of crossroads in this relationship where I'm like, how I perceive the actions of this other person as being influenced by that old relationship with self-worth. And I'm actually recognizing that that might not be what's behind their actions. There's some other tower moment and depletion going on in their life that I can actually help without it being at cost to myself. And I can check in with them about how to accurately perceive where their actions are coming from instead of assuming or thinking that I have to mind read because it's not safe to have frank conversations with people. And I can stand in my self-worth and not deplete myself, not be obsessing and losing sleep because I know they're having trouble and they're sad and they're not completely okay. But I can still care about them and help them be more okay and in the ways that I can. I really hope this is coming through with a greater flow and coherence than it feels like it's coming through to me. It feels like these sort of gushes of messages and then this sort of stop, this abrupt stop where I'm like, did the message actually complete, or am I failing to bring it through accurately? Why is there a sense of this abruptness? And a sense of something being unfinished. So maybe more information about that energy will come through. But I do want to express to you as viewers and to the universe facilitating this reading my true intention for really coherent and helpful and beneficial and effective messages to come through. And I hope that that's happening here. I'm being drawn to pull more of the Spirit Song Tarot, which is awesome, and just so far in my history of readings, a little bit unusual for me. It's been, well, I go a few cards from this deck, a few cards from that deck, but I go where Spirit calls me. That song is coming through. There's a beautiful song called Oceans Where Feet May Fail. There might be multiple versions of it. The version I'm familiar with is by Hillsong United, featuring the vocalist Taya, I believe. And the bridge says, "Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters." Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters. Wherever you would call me. I was trying to remember what the next words were, and I had to sing it to remember what the next words were. Wherever you would call me, take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Okay. There's this feeling, and this might be mirrored by both of you, because I am getting this strong feeling of like this person is self-isolating and you see it and you want to help, but you're a little bit scared too. So this might be a feeling that both of you are having and both of you are healing, and that might be why there's such strong spiritual protection around this connection, because this connection is an opportunity for both of you to heal this. I mean, even if things don't go optimally, a step in that healing process can happen. Even if something else sort of goes awry. And that's valuable and important and worthwhile. You are worthwhile, you are worthy is just such a strong, strong fundamental message in this reading. But you might both be mirroring this energy of, it feels like this leap of faith to trust each other, or to like reveal any vulnerability to each other. And it feels like caring without being sure, like proactively showing caring without being 100% sure that they will reciprocate is an act of vulnerability. And I want to validate that for you. And I want to, again, validate that, it's worth taking a chance on this relationship and finding out if they are in the same boat and if they will reciprocate. And if they don't, protect yourself. But if they do, what an amazing opportunity for healing, and you don't want to miss out on that. You don't want to, in my experience and opinion, the biggest regrets are not giving things a shot and never finding out. Even if things go really badly and I get really hurt, I'm still glad I found out. And I have learned from those experiences how to find out while also sort of minimizing damage to myself. How to take the risk in a way that isn't just, for example, with the leap of faith, wading into that ocean without simply blindly ignoring potential riptides, right? That might actually drown you. Oh, I see the riptide, or I hear other people warning me about the riptide, or I feel the start of it, and I'm going to back out now. I'm not going to just be like, no, I trust that it's all okay, and I'm going to take this blind leap of faith when I'm actually seeing evidence otherwise. But when I'm not actually sure, I'm going to find out. I'm going to take measured risks. Okay. We have 9 of crystals, security and abundance. That's so interesting. I'm really going to be curious to see what this card has to say, because I'm so used to the 9 of Pentacles being an independence card. It is also a wish fulfillment card in a way, not quite as much so in my experience as the 9 of Cups, but it is. But I'm so used to it being like independent, like wealth, like someone who has gone from rags to riches on their own, what's the word? On their own fierceness, persistence, pursuit of their dreams and their desires, pursuit of their goals. For some people that looks like entrepreneurship, but it doesn't have to. As if, like, it can look like working for yourself, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It's just that sense of security and abundance that isn't reliant on others. Okay, so I'm getting a message as I say that this is an affirmation that you are secure in your worth now, and you don't need to be scared of someone else taking that away from you, because you would no longer let anyone take it away from you. Okay, that's why I was drawn. At first I started to put it under the 5 of crystals, but I was drawn to put it under the 8 of feathers, the 8 of swords, because you know now that you are not powerless. You have, for some of you begun, for some of you for a very long time, been really accessing and drawing on and learning your power. And there's this sense for this whole group, or at least most of us, that there is still a sense of newness a little bit, like stretching muscles you didn't realize you had, like growing wings, and it taking a while to kind of get used to how they feel and how to counterbalance the rest of your body in light of these new appendages. It feels a little weird. It's not bad, but the reaction to that can be a little bit of a flinch away, because we're not used to this new expansive body or self-concept or power. This new lease on life, this new expansive worldview. A whole new world. Yeah, back to that sense of having fun and bringing fun into this other person's life. Okay, I've been really getting caught up in the energies that have been channeling through to me so that I could understand the situation for you and this other person and shed light on it for this group. But they're bringing me back with that Aladdin song to the heart of the message, which is that upliftment is right there, that positivity, the fun, the spontaneity, they're right there available to you guys. If this person doesn't pick you up on it, have a little persistence, but also keep bringing that joy to yourself. You can offer the joy and not have it be snuffed out like a candle flame if they actually reject it or refuse it or aren't quite ready. It doesn't have to be a mean thing if they aren't quite ready. If they do come across in that way, then you can set those boundaries. But if they are just not ready and they're not being cruel to you, then you can have persistence in continuing to offer that joy. And this new lease on life that you have, where you are grounded in your power, the security that you have in your infinite worth, your abundance of worth, and the abundance of joy and inspiration and possibilities with the Page of Cups in the world and in life, you can actually approach them with this attitude. I'm going to offer to share the joy that I have in life with you. I'm going to offer to do things with you. I'm going to say, hey, do you want to come out? Do you want to go see a movie? Do you want to go take a walk? Let's get some sunlight. Let's get some exercise. Let's go to the gym. But if they refuse, you're going to approach it with this attitude of like, okay, yeah, that's your choice, bro. That's how it came through in my head. That's your choice, bro. I'm going to keep doing me. You do you. This other person in the past, someone else not being excited about the idea that you're excited about and mirroring your enthusiasm might have robbed your joy, robbed your enthusiasm, snuffed it out. But you've transitioned from this Eight of Swords energy to this Nine of Pentacles energy, and are in the process of fully realizing that transition, so that you realize, wait a second, my enthusiasm is mine. Like, I sourced it from myself. I am passionate and creative with the Queen of Wands. This passion came from within me. This fire, this light came from within me. Someone else choosing not to light their candle from my flame isn't going to diminish my flame any more than them lighting the candle from my flame would diminish my flame. It's just going to keep shining on, baby. So I'm going to go into this situation of offering to share joy with them, and opportunities and possibilities and upliftment with them, with the awareness. I'm going to be mentally prepared that they might reject it. They might be a little caught up in their tower moment. And that's not going to get to me in any lasting way. Sure, of course, it's natural for it to disappoint me and bum me out. But then I'm going to go take the walk or go to the gym or go see that movie anyway, and I'm going to enjoy it a ton and keep on living my life and keep on knowing that I'm worthy of these beautiful experiences, and that them not mirroring my enthusiasm doesn't indicate that it's wrong for me to be enthusiastic. It's wrong for me to care and be so passionate and so excited and so invested in sharing with people. Someone else not mirroring it doesn't make it wrong and isn't gonna stop me. It doesn't mean that it's shameful or bad or weak or overly vulnerable, or fragile or overly sensitive for me to care enough to be passionate and enthusiastic. I'm secure in my protection of myself. It's like with this spider, it's like I have actually kind of crafted my nest, that my safe place, my happy place that I can return to if when I, crawl out of that happy place to try and share my happiness with someone else, if they reject it, I've got my safe haven to retreat to. And I'm not going to lock myself in there in my tower and hide away from the world forever because someone rejected me. But I can retreat there and then I can emerge again the next day. If they do say something hurtful, I can heal myself. I keep on bringing up that message about if they say something hurtful, if they reject, not because Spirit is giving me any indication that that's what's going to happen, but because it feels important to just affirm really solidly that you're going to be okay if something like that does happen, and that won't mean that it was stupid or the wrong choice to make an offering or an invitation. If you think about it, there are people in life, there's a really wide range of people in life. There are people who ask others out on dates and apply for jobs and try new things, knowing that they might fail and that they might get rejected and they might look stupid or look foolish or look like they don't know what they're doing because they don't know what they're doing. They're trying something new for the first time. They're asking someone and they can't control the other person's response. There are people who do that all the time, and the rejection rolls off like duck off a water's back, like water off a duck's back. And there are other people who live their whole lives in total fear of that, building up this shell, and potentially realizing exactly how miserable they are in that tower, in that shell, but firmly entrenched in that sense of powerlessness from the Eight of Swords, that sense of powerlessness that tells them that they wouldn't be capable of recovering from that wound if it happened. They wouldn't be capable of rebounding from that rejection. That powerlessness tells them I gotta laugh when the stutters come out, but sometimes the messages are coming out faster than my brain to mouth connection is synced up with. That powerlessness tells them that if one person rejects them, if one attempt goes poorly, it means something about them. It means that they aren't capable of more. They aren't capable of being accepted. They aren't capable of being loved. They aren't capable of practicing until they succeed. or trying until they succeed. You'll also, of course, encounter other people who are so deeply in denial of their own sense of shame and lack of self-worth that they do everything they can to project an image of someone who is truly confident and truly willing to make mistakes and look like a fool, but the whole time they're kind of covering up their own sense of shame and foolishness. But what we're really drawing on in this reading and in this message is inspiration from, if I've been a little bit caught up in my tower of protection and licking my wounds, wait a second, there are actually other people out there who aren't just putting on a show. There are those people, but there are also people who really do try and try and try again, and it gives them joy. Like it's this playful, childlike process, this never-ending process, this never-ending play of life, where everything is an experiment, everything is playing, everything is always new, because from this worldview that this person with this security and abundance of confidence embodies, if I fall on my face, I get up and try again. Life's an adventure. It's not worth the price of admission if I don't make the most of it, and I'm going to keep trying things and making the most of it. And I know that's going to mean falling on my face. It'll probably be really cool when I do, actually. Like, even if it's not this epic, some falls can be epic, but even if it's not, getting back up is gonna be epic. And there's this sense of like thriving on that excitement and bringing that to this other person, like, hey, I know this has been a really hard time, but hey, do you want to go see that movie? Do you want to go try that thing that we've both never tried before? Don't you think it would be fun? Wouldn't it be cool? Even if it goes badly, won't we get a cool story out of it? And potentially even bonding with this person over like, oh my gosh, who knew? Like, both of us are in this state of who knew this could be so fun. What a cool thing to bond over with someone. What an amazing friendship or connection that will be if it's built from this place of both of you really being newly rooted in your self-worth and really growing into, I just heard like growing out of stage fright for some of you. So like maybe you and your friend are both love singing, but you're terrified to do it in front of other people, and you're like, hey, you want to go do karaoke? Who cares if we sound terrible? That's like half the fun of karaoke. Like, people kind of in some atmospheres, people kind of hate you if you're like really awesome at singing karaoke, because they're like, boo, I'm gonna get up next, and like, it's fun if we're all bad, but if you're amazing and you make no mistakes, where's the fun in that? Of course, everyone's different. I'm sure some people have karaoke night with their, musical theater major friends in college, and they're all just trying to outdo each other. I don't know. I've never been like this huge karaoke bar person, so I don't know what the different cultures are, but I have heard that from other people about the point is to be bad. People hate you if you're good. I've genuinely heard that from real life people who are a lot more into karaoke than I am. So that could be a very literal example for some of you, and for others of you that could be a metaphorical example of ways that you can do something that seems a little spontaneous and impulsive and maybe even risky to you and this other person, but by doing it you realize, wait a second, there were no stakes in that at all. Nobody cares if we were good at karaoke. And we just discovered, like, we just got this amazing, I'm seeing in this image in my mind's eye of someone like holding up this shiny gold coin in awe after having just dusted it off from the ruins of some archaeological dig. Like, we just both gained this amazing awareness and insight and like sense of being grounded in our ability to try something new and have fun and laugh at ourselves and put ourselves out there without it breaking us. Like, that's priceless. And it felt risky to put ourselves out there like that, but now that we've done it, oh my gosh, it turns out there were no stakes at all. Of course this was worth it. How could we ever have questioned that? So for some of you, there may be like a literal putting yourself out there in sort of a public speaking or performance type of aspect, you know, putting yourself out there for a job interview, that sort of thing. Maybe you and this friend that you're bonding with both decide to like ask someone on a date that you've been scared to ask them out with, you know, like for some people, for some of you in this group, there is that putting yourself out there aspect in other layers, in addition to the layer of putting yourself out there within this relationship, being the one to take some initiative in this relationship. That energy of excitement is really pervading me now, and I see now why Spirit really threw me, my higher self really threw me into the energy of the fear and trepidation first, because the feeling of the transformation from that to this excitement is amazing. So you have a rare, they're telling me this strongly, you have a rare and unique opportunity to transmute this situation and this energy in a way that changes not only your life but also someone else's. And you can probably think back to some times when you actually really needed someone like that, and how amazing is it that you have the opportunity to be that someone for someone else. For some of you, this could be a younger sibling or a younger friend or cousin, but it could be someone older than you. It doesn't really matter. But there is, with that protective energy that was coming through, there is almost this energy of like, I want to look out for this person the way that someone else never looked out for me. I want to cheer up this person the way that someone else never cheered me up. But because I didn't get it, that yes, that's where some of this fear of being the one to reach out and kind of put myself out there in this relationship is coming from. There were times when that was not met and reciprocated, and that need wasn't met for me in the past, and I genuinely want to take care of and care for this other person and lift them up, but I'm scared it's going to be at the expense of lifting myself up. And that's where that part about, actually, I'm going to treat this like I'm protecting my candle flame, and it's not going to extinguish it regardless of whether the person lights their candle or doesn't. Whatever attitude they take in doing that, if they give me some sort of attitude or don't, can that really touch the candle? It might, you know, sting for a few minutes, but it's not really going to touch the source of the flame. The source of my flame is much deeper and bigger than that. I'm connected to the universe. I'm connected to my true purpose in life, my passion, my creativity, what I want to bring into this world. The way that I've heard some people put it is that the way you act, every choice you make is like a vote for how you want the world to be. Every thought, word, action that you put out there and choose to perpetuate is a vote for the type of world you want to live in. So you're really recognizing your power. Like, I have the power to influence this person in a beautiful way. Why wouldn't I do that? Why would I choose not to do that when I could actually have such a positive impact on them? I have the power to hold my own ground regardless of how other people respond to that. Of course I'm going to keep my flame lit. I have the power. Wow. The Four of Feathers, the Four of Swords, Sanctuary, Rest. That's so interesting that this came out and is calling me to be put right under the Tower card when we were talking about the Tower as like sort of the Hermit's Tower and the place to hide away. And then with the Spider, we were also talking about the Nine of Crystals. We were also talking about having a safe haven you can retreat to. And the Bear is a creature that does hibernate. So there is a message of like, don't be offended if this person does need a little bit more time and a little bit of persistence before they really react positively and enthusiastically to invitations. They might just need to rest a little bit. Of course, this message wouldn't be coming through if they didn't also kind of need to be poked out of their cave a little bit, coaxed out of their cave, cajoled out of their corner. But it's also okay to let them rest and respect their wishes. Just keep putting that offering out there as long as it feels comfortable for you, as long as you're able to stay grounded in that sense of my flame is not being diminished. this person and or you may also just be working too hard at the moment. And so, the things that you invite them to do with you, or the ways that you invite them to connect with you, don't have to be like these big exciting things at first, right? The going out to karaoke or going to hike a mountain or what have you. It can be like, hey, you want to just stay in and watch a movie together? Do you want to stay in and order takeout together? Do you want to like take a nap together this afternoon? Because this person might just really need a break from work, and they might be someone who feels like, oh, if I go out I have to get ready, and then it's such a production, and be like, hey, let's take a break. What do you want to do to take a break? So the sanctuary and rest may not be about them needing more space or time before they are able to step into connection, or about you needing that, but about you both like needing a respite from work and busyness and from harsh environments, and finding that refuge in each other, and finding that refuge in the safe haven you've built for yourself that protects your self-worth, and kind of beginning to create like a Venn diagram overlap where the two of you have some sanctuary together. You don't have to be alone to have sanctuary and rest. You can do things that refill each other's cups together as well as for each other. This can be a restful connection, a safe haven from the crumbling of the tower. Some people, when they're kind of all hermited away in their apartment actually becomes, it's like the torture of it is that it's like, oh, my apartment is my safe place, my home is my safe place, my house, away from the harsh cruelties of the world, the trials and tribulations, the slings and arrows, to reference Hamlet. But I also feel caged here with the Eight of Swords. So there's also a message with the Four of Feathers, the Four of Swords, about changing the relationship to home. So, if you say, hey, do you want me to come over and bring takeout and a movie over and we can chill out? Or like, hey, how about I help you clean your house today, and then, next week after you've had a chance to rest and when you aren't so busy, you help me clean mine, or you help me out with this other completely different thing, or maybe you're just one of those people who likes organizing, so you don't feel like you need the same exchange that some people might need for doing that. But there might be, times to invite this person to come out of the tower and times to actually join them in it. And that one of the gifts you have to offer here might actually be changing their relationship to it, making new memories in their home. I just got this image of like maybe someone moved into their new apartment a few months ago, and maybe they've put energy into decorating and everything, but they don't have memories with their old friends in this new apartment, in this new city they've moved to, and so it still feels like sad and desolate and lonely to them. Like the pictures they've put up are just reminders of the people they don't have around them right now and things like that. And if they let you in to visit, they might be surprised by how healing it is to make new memories of laughing with someone in this new place, and how much that transforms their home for them, how much that infuses it with warmth, so that the hibernation, the times in their tower don't just feel like caging themselves away from the world. It doesn't feel like they're confined there because they don't know this new city and they're trapped, but it feels like this is a joyful place for me to do my work or have my rest or do my hobbies, the things that bring me joy. And now I know that I don't just have to venture out into this new city or this new world. Again, the whole New World song from Aladdin is playing. I actually have someone else I can venture out into this world with. Actually, that Aladdin song coming back into my head again is making me realize there's another message in that song, because in that song, Aladdin is showing Jasmine around. So for some of you, this friend of yours might genuinely be newer to the area that you live in than you are. And so again, with that sort of older sibling energy coming through, that might not apply to everyone's situation, but this sense of like, you can kind of show them around a little bit. You'll both be learning and expanding and growing together, but you might not feel so trepidatious or so much like a newcomer in this environment as they do, possibly because they are actually younger, possibly because they just moved here and you've been here for a year or 5 years or something, whatever the case may be, possibly because you have a car and they don't, whatever it is. Maybe you live in a city with public transit and you're an expert on it, or maybe not even an expert, but you just know the system or the maps better than they do. And it's scary and intimidating to them. And maybe you've lived with public transit your whole life and they never have. If you're at school, they might have always been relying on adults to bring them around, and now they're in university with you, and maybe you always, as a teenager, took the bus places and took the train places, and you're kind of used to that, and maybe that's new for them. Just examples coming through of the dynamic that might be here, where it's like we're both in this together, we're both equals, but there might be something you have to offer this person in that regard that can provide them more security than you actually have realized it could. You might be able to give them a safe place in more ways than you have realized. And it might end up being more meaningful to them than they have realized. And maybe they're kind of scared to lean on someone. And so it's going to take some cajoling to realize, like, there is good stuff out there to see. It's going to be worth it. And I'm not gonna use this as power over you. I'm not going to take advantage of you. These dynamics of trust take a little time and practice and some fumbling often to really work out. I'm being called to draw off the top of the Spirit Song Tarot where I've shuffled it. Is this upside down? Okay. Yeah, we're getting the Three of Feathers. We're in reverse. This doesn't shock me. Release and recovery. The Three of Swords, the Three of Feathers, is a heartbreak card. And the way that it's depicted in this deck mirrors how I often look at the Three of Swords reversed, because in the Rider-Waite Tarot, when the Three of Swords is reversed, it's as if the three swords are falling out of the heart that has been pierced by them. And that release is setting the stage for recovery. It's setting the stage for the heart to heal. And with that coming out in reverse underneath the Page of Shells reversed, I'm getting an image of this person weeping, like this person maybe going through a transition or some grief. Maybe they really have moved cities and they're really homesick. And they are approaching the point where they are ready to come out of their shell again. And it's just going to take some healing and some time and practice. But they are getting ready to turn a corner, and you can be instrumental in that. And also drive healing from that process yourself. So be gentle with both them and yourself. Upside down or upright? Oh, upside down, okay. Ace of Feathers, Ace of Swords reversed, mental clarity and foundation. What is up with this being in reverse, Spirit? The Ace of Swords to me is often a symbol of protection from Archangel Michael as well, since he's known for his blazing sword. So I do feel that sense of spiritual protection with this relationship, even if it's not related to that specific spirit guide. Mental clarity and foundation. I do notice that with this having come out in reverse, there's been a sense throughout this reading of like this other person involved in the situation they may not be seeing some things clearly. There was also a sense earlier in the reading of there might be some things about their actions and their behavior that you don't have enough information to interpret clearly and accurately yourself. That may be going on their end too, where they don't know you well enough yet to really understand where your actions are coming from. And so that's why like you're being guided to kind of spell it out for them. Like, I care about you, and not be scared to make that clear to them. That type of clarity is necessary for a foundation to be formed in the relationship, a foundation of trust. And even if that's not resonating, there might just be a little bit of a mental fog from sort of depression or grief or whatever they're going through around this person that you can help pierce by some gentle, loving, in some cases tough love, depending on what this person responds to and how close you are to them and so on. But it also doesn't have to be tough love to be persistent and be like, hey, I know you feel like you just don't want to get out of bed, but would you please come out with me? Would you please come get some sunlight with me and touch some grass and take a walk? Like, I really think you'll feel better. If not, you can hassle me about it. That can still be gentle and still be persistent, and like a sword. The sword piercing the veil doesn't have to be, tough love. It can still be gentle. With this, go looking up, it's like this person kind of needs to be reminded to look up at the light. And they might already be making some of that shift in perspective themselves. If they weren't, they might not really be ready to meet you where you're at and actually reciprocate in this friendship. And there's been a strong sense throughout this reading that there is a really strong, solid chance that this person is ready to heal and reciprocate and be a good friend to you, that this won't just be a one-sided depleting relationship for you. While that outcome is always up in the air because we can never control other people and they have their own choices to make, and their own perception of their readiness and what they're willing to do, those outcomes can never be completely controlled. You wouldn't, this is not your pile or would not be your reading if there wasn't a strong, solid chance of that. So this person may already be starting to look up, and so now is the perfect, stage set for you to knock on the door and have your sword pierce the veil and go, hey, here I am. Yeah, it's like I'm being drawn to leave it upright even though it came out in reverse, because it's like this moment of transitioning from the mental fog to the mental clarity, transitioning from the reversed energy to the upright energy. And that transition, like the other energies that were coming through earlier, might be something that both of you are going through, but regardless of whether it is or not, you are in a strong position to help this person with theirs. It might be that, especially if you are a little bit older than this person, it might be that you've been through this process, this transition several times in several ways in many situations over the course of your life, and whereas they're in a situation that's really brand new to them, like we talked about with the potentially literal or potentially metaphorical analogy of moving to a new city. Maybe you've done 16 different jobs in your life, and this is only their first job and you're working at the same place and that sort of thing. It could be any number of things, but you have some level of ability to show this person the ropes in some way, to help guide them out of the darkness, to hold their hand and lead them into the light in some way. And that doesn't mean shunning someone's shadows or quote unquote darkness or their sadness. It means, like we talked about with seeing if they'll let you into the tower, it means bringing the light to the sad parts. There's an old Tumblr post that said the opposite of negativity, or the antidote to negativity, isn't positivity. The antidote to negativity is warmth. And so while that may be different in different situations, if someone is ready to see the silver linings and see the sunlight that's next to the clouds or behind the clouds, positivity may be part of warmth. But there are other situations where I think the post went on to say warmth, positivity tries to tell the negative person to ignore the negatives and focus on the positives, while warmth takes the negative person out for ice cream, right? It's giving someone something positive to focus on instead of telling them, why don't you just focus on the positive? Shining a light into the shadowy situation instead of just being well, why can't you just see the light yourself? So yeah, I don't think positivity and warmth are mutually exclusive. I don't think all positivity is a bypass of negative emotions, but it's important to embrace negative emotions, and not just wallow in them. Have healthy rest, healthy boundaries, healthy use of your safe haven and your self-protection and your alone time, but also come out and have an interplay, a flow back and forth between those states where hibernation doesn't move from rest to hiding, where embracing the negative emotions doesn't turn into wallowing for too long, but you do get to wallow in the sense of having a catharsis and having a proper release and getting to have a full, complete experience instead of trying to cut that off and act like the negative emotions should already be gone when they haven't had a chance to come to completion and like fully pass through the nervous system yet. And if this is like a newer friendship or something like that, it might be that you and this person are in the process of bonding to a degree that you can actually trust each other with not just talking about or around negative emotions or experiences, but actually showing them to each other and getting to experience that transformation that I experienced in this reading together, where you go from that kind of Three of Swords state to the Queen of Wands state, the Eight of Feathers to the Nine of Crystals, where you go from that, where you experience the completion of the catharsis or the wallowing and the transition into, I actually feel kind of cleansed and purged and I'm able to renew now, and I'm able to go out and experience, oh, there are actually other things in the world besides the grief that I've been locked in for 3 months. I kind of forgot that. It feels really good to remember again. It feels really good that I let the grief have its space, and it feels really good to experience joy again. You two might be able to start experiencing some of those transition moments together instead of feeling like emotions are only safe when you're alone. This is coming out upright. Okay, King of Shells, harmony, integrity. King of Pentacles, not Pentacles, King of Cups. This one I'm being called to read from the guidebook for. A lot of these cards I haven't been. I've just been called to bring through the messages that Spirit are giving me from the cards. But this one I'm being called to read from the guidebook. Integrity is right away bringing me this notion that harmony in this relationship is going to come from the two of you mutually standing in integrity, where we talked about like standing in your self-worth and not compromising that for the sake of caring for others. You standing in that integrity and being really honest with this person is going to show them that you're trustworthy, as well as showing yourself that you're trustworthy and that you're not going to self-sacrifice or compromise your boundaries. And that might actually be a way in which you are leading by example for this person, where we were talking about a whole new world and having some aspects where you can kind of show this person the way. That might actually be one of them, where this is new territory for this person to like be able to kind of have themselves and have other people too in certain ways, to have a friendship where you two can disagree about things but still both have your whole truth fully welcome at the table and not need to like change each other's minds or behavior, for example, not need to control each other or control the outcomes of the situations you're in together. And I'm not saying that's necessarily completely new to this person, but there might be some aspect of that that is newer to them than it is to you. And it might be a little bit new to you as well. And so them seeing you stand in your integrity and kind of put yourself on the table, lay your cards on the table, rather than like trying to put your quote-unquote best foot forward in the sense of, I'm going to put my shiny version of myself out there so that I know I won't get rejected, in an attempt to control the situation and prevent pain. Actually, I would rather put my whole authentic self out there so that you know what you're getting into. And I would rather we have a clear, honest foundation than start off on false footing. yeah, there's just something about that attitude from you being kind of like a guiding light from them, something that might surprise them a little bit. Especially where I was talking about they might not be seeing you clearly yet, especially if this is a newer connection, or especially if you have been a little bit used to hiding yourself away. And they might be a little bit surprised as you start bringing more of yourself to the table, or as they just start to understand you more if you've been bringing yourself to the table, but you two just haven't gotten to bond and build trust yet. They might be a little surprised in a way that actually kind of takes some, I'm getting this visceral feeling of it taking a burden off their back, lightening their load. Like I just got this image of someone with fairy wings, being used to no one else really seeing their wings or thinking they're real, and so they're kind of like, I can't fly around these people because it just like I don't get to, live in human society if I show that I can fly with my fairy wings. And then you show up and you see their wings and you start fluttering around them, and they're like, there are other people I can do that with. I can do that with you. And obviously for some of you, that might be like that you two have a certain element of spirituality or sensitivity to energies in common, but that might be a lot more metaphorical for others of you, where it has nothing to do with, etheric energies that you both can see that other people can't, but it does have to do with you to actually being able to understand each other in a way that this person maybe hasn't realized yet. And so they're able to come alive with you a little bit in a way that maybe they haven't experienced since, moving to their new city, starting at their new school or job, because they haven't found other people who get them on that level yet. And maybe they didn't really think you did at first, but you're showing them with your persistence and your integrity. And that is creating this harmony where you two can be seahorses swimming together or fairies flitting about together in a world where maybe it feels more like you're surrounded by snails. Not that there's anything wrong with snails, but they do not float the same way seahorses do or fly the same way fairies do. They get around in their own beautiful way. Okay, so I was going to read the King of Shells, but my guidebook actually flipped open to the Eight of Feathers, so I'm being drawn to read this message first. Mouse is not going to allow himself to feel trapped for too long. He knows there is a world of possibilities awaiting him, and that stumbling blocks will be conquered with courage and patience. Mouse is a quick and decisive little fellow who doesn't like to waste energy. He focuses on releasing only the energy needed to get where he needs to go. Recognize your abilities and use your inventiveness to free yourself by releasing pressures and anxieties. Focus on expanding your potential and know that you will gain momentum as you forge ahead. Such a beautiful message for encapsulating that transition from the Eight of Swords energy to the other more free and vibrant energies from the Knight of Pentacles to the Queen of Wands and the King of Cups. My guidebook on my way over to the King of Shells also flipped open to the Page of Shells, so we'll go ahead and read that one as well. The reversed message is, when illusions are shattered, believe that you will see things in a new light. Avoid repeating old patterns. So that does speak to you know how to, that especially in conjunction with the message that we just read, you know how to avoid repeating old patterns in this current connection. You can trust that, and if you feel like you've been starting to slip into an old mindset, you have the ability to step back into your sanctuary with the Four of Feathers and reset and approach this relationship with new eyes and a new light. And if, like I said, if things don't go the way you'd like, you also have the ability to step back and protect yourself in a more permanent way. The reversed card keywords for the Page of Shells: creative blocks, infatuation, moodiness, broken dreams, sensitivity to criticism. So these could all have to do with the energies that you or this other person are healing from. And sensitivity to criticism and infatuation. For some of you, there could be an element of infatuation with this other person where, like, maybe you have an unrequited crush or something like that, or maybe what they're healing from is an unrequited crush. But there, just with the concern about rejection, right, and about resting your self-worth in other people's opinion of you, that's definitely a past energy that you're transitioning out to. But that might also be part of what has felt like it's maybe been threatening to pull you back into an old energy. Is like, I really like being friends with this person, but maybe I do feel a little bit of a draw or an attraction or an appeal to them, and I'm not gonna let it ruin the friendship. I value their friendship. I don't see myself as being friend zoned. I don't see their friendship as like less worthwhile than having a different type of relationship with them. And I can honor my feelings and not get like so consumed in infatuation that I kind of just see the idea of this person and not the real person, that I put them on a pedestal and self-efface myself, or try to be what I think they want so as to control the situation and dehumanize them in the process of putting them on a pedestal. I'm not saying you're doing any of those things. I'm just saying that I see some of those elements might be part of the past energies you're coming out of. And if there are, like some of you may be in a situation where there's like an unrequited crush or something like that, and you know that you're more than capable of forming a friendship and moving through those attraction energies and kind of transmuting them and letting them fall away, letting them wither away as the friendship grows. You know that it's not just going to be, oh, I'm going to harbor this old flame to my own detriment and to the detriment of the friendship for years. If that's how you feel, then this is probably not your pile. But that energy might have been what triggered you to feel like, is it going to be okay if I like keep reaching out to this person? Are they going to take it the wrong way? Am I going to take it the wrong way? So there's definitely, like, if that resonates with you, this is part of the past energy that you are already in the process of moving forward from and transmuting. So I'm not really feeling any guidance needs to come through on how to do that. It's more just like a confirmation, validation message of like, it's okay if that's something you're dealing with. You are dealing with it well. You don't need to feel bad for having had a crush on this person. If you feel like the infatuation is something you can't let go of, then do let go of the friendship and let them move on. But there are so many times when those crushes do kind of fall away or transmute into friendship energy, and you can kind of laugh together about like, oh my god, what a disaster we would be as romantic partners. I'm so glad we're just friends later on down the line. It doesn't have to be a disaster to have had the crush in the first place. It might have been part of what drew you to this person and actually inspired and caused this wonderful friendship. And for a few of you, it might not be unrequited, and this might be like the gentle nurturing of a seed that will later blossom into a relationship. But that message of like, you can't control other people is so key in this case, if that is the case for you. You cannot approach this person with like, this is the type of relationship or the outcome that I want out of this person in this relationship. You have to approach from this place of, in order for it to work and for it to feel mutually nourishing, you have to approach it from this place of caring for yourself and them, watering yourself and them, and seeing where it goes simply because you care and not because you're expecting a certain outcome from it. Especially with all the gentleness that is needed for the healing they're going through, and that with the dynamics we've talked about possibly being mirrored, quite possibly or probably the healing you're going through as well. The Page of Cups upright says, a walker between water and earth. Okay. No, I'm actually I started to read that and then I just got this like, stop. This like sudden break from Spirit. So now they're telling me to read the King of Cups now. Okay. King of Shells, Seahorse, harmony and integrity. With full trust in his own counsel, Seahorse transports messages from divine source. A visionary, he carries a nurturing instinct. So right away, that message about transporting messages from divine source. I was just speaking about the seahorse and the fairy analogies. So this might be confirming for some of you that there is resonance on spiritual subjects. That's something that the two of you have understanding with each other about, or at least can talk to each other about, share with each other. Or if that's not necessarily a subject of interest so much, it might be still a spiritually guided connection. Perhaps a soulmate connection, a platonic soulmate, or a connection that has spiritual healing opportunities within it and is protected by your spirit teams. And transporting messages from divine source, caring for one another, is one of the most divine channelings we can do. That is pure source energy coming through us in the form of love as we build trust with one another and show each other caring. And a visionary carries a nurturing instinct. Brings me back to that sense of nurturing, maybe older sibling energy, showing each other the way, but especially the ways in which you might be able to nurture this connection in this person as they come out of this difficult time, and the connection from there will be able to nurture you in return. Seahorse anchors himself by balancing his emotions through sheer willpower, helping him get through the most turbulent of storms. So many of you have been through a lot of difficult emotional experiences in the past that have been how you have learned and paved the way for this grounding and self-worth that you have, that allows you to protect your candle flame, your hearth, through storms. That willpower, that grounding in your free will and in your power, allows you to exert your influence in a kind, calm, and grounded way, so that you can influence situations positively, influence yourself positively, and hold a positive vibration amidst chaotic times or chaotic people or confusion, or amidst dealing with other people's depression or things like that. He enjoys the power of acclamation, while his compassion assists him in dealing sensitively with challenging situations. So yes, it's compassion for both yourself and others, guiding you in how you, being your guiding light in how you relate to this person in your life and anchor yourself. Seahorse enjoys a harmonious environment and works hard to keep it that way. Survey your positions that you may gain a clearer viewpoint. Love that with the conjunction between the King of Shells and the Ace of Feathers here, mental clarity. Assessing things accurately. The Ace of Swords is all about, and the swords in general, but especially certain cards like the Ace, are all about clear seeing and piercing veils of illusion, which the Page of Shells also mention, and the Tower also mentions illusions crumbling. And the Ace of Feathers going from reversed to upright very much shows you and the other individual getting clearer perspectives on each other, getting to know each other better, and getting a clearer view of what this relationship can be as you build trust and begin to understand each other, forming understanding as a basis for a healthy connection, and forming understanding as a basis for, oh, I see how to respond to this person, I see how to interpret them, and also I'm going to ask them when I'm not sure how to interpret what they've done, rather than leaping to conclusions and perpetuating an unclear view. Allow the flow of the current to guide you to the most opportune path. When clarity shines a light on the best direction, remain focused on your destination. Absolutely. Don't resist your intuitive and gut instincts. Don't resist the currents of those divine source messages, both of caring for one another and of caring for yourself, protecting one another and protecting yourself. And eyes on the prize, remain focused on the destination, in the sense of be persistent through some stumbling blocks, go with your intuition about when to focus on the connection and when to focus on yourself. Fill up your own cup. If some of the messages about past energies resonated with you, you may have dealt with feeling obsessive and ruminating about where you stood in connections in the past when it was uncertain. So now you've learned to ask for clarification and be persistent about taking a chance to show up and find out how the other person responds. And once you find out how they respond, instead of trying to control the situation, react accordingly by continuing to invest in the relationship or taking a step back. Keywords: integrity, balance, visionary, stability, leadership, emotional intelligence, wisdom, kindness, and healer. Again, that part about kindness and love bringing so much healing to both people within this connection. We're going to draw one more spirit song tarot card to complete this 2-row spread here. Excuse me. One more message here, Spirit. Okay, is it this? Okay. Upright or upside down? Okay, upright. We have the 6 of Acorns, the 6 of Wands, success and triumph. Definitely a positive omen for this relationship. The 6 of Wands is often a person who's in a very popular position after triumphing over obstacles, after they've triumphed over and had their hard-won victory. It actually gets recognized by others in the standard depiction of the 6 of Wands. So that definitely speaks to keeping your light alive, keeping your fire alive, and recognizing each other for your accomplishments in this connection. I'm getting that can be something really positive about this connection. For example, that example of being performers came through earlier, and this has the potential, if that is something that resonates with you, where the two of you, with passion and creativity here as well, can actually be very supportive of each other's art, each other's creations, each other's work and inspirations, whether that is performing, whether that is putting your art out there to sell, where some other people might kind of try to talk you down from things or tell you, no, that's too risky, don't invest in that, or even try to tell you you're not good enough to do that. Even this other person can really be cheerleaders of each other's success, and maybe even sort of initial tester audiences for each other. Like if you are artists or performers, kind of giving each other positive feedback and being like, yeah, sing me that song, show me that dance you're working on. Like, I want to see it. I like you. I like seeing what you're working on. I like your creativity. I like your ideas. And maybe even working on things together. 6 of Acorns in the guidebook. Where are you? Where'd you go, Acorns? There we go. Okay. Keywords: success, triumph, power, enthusiasm, leadership, recognition, and strength. Yeah, you've definitely got a lot of emotional strength, and that enthusiasm has the real potential to be mirrored in this relationship. And that's something to honor and cherish about yourself, your enthusiasm for things. The way your enthusiasm and strength, or your enthusiasm for life and your passion for connections, has actually become stronger after all that you've been through, rather than snuffed out with all the dynamic that we've been talking about here. Majestic elk carries himself with honor and nobility. He walks with you on your chosen path, guiding you toward the best use of your energy to avoid burning out. So I love the honor and nobility with the integrity from the King of Pentacles. That sense of honesty and integrity and standing in your worth and your authenticity. And as being someone who can cheerlead that, and you can cheerlead that for them. So you have the ability to be a connection for each other that really nurtures each other's roots instead of poking at them and digging at them like so many people unfortunately do in this world, especially if they do see a light in you that they're jealous of, or that casts light on their shadows that they don't want to look at. Yeah. And especially, again, with that sort of older sibling energy we were talking about before, the nurturing from the King of Shells, if this is someone who is in some way younger or has less experience in a field than you, it may be especially significant for them, even more so than it is for you in reverse, that you not poke at their roots, and that you are actually someone who nurtures those roots. I'm not saying it isn't incredibly significant for them or for anyone to do the same for you as well. Of course it is, especially after all this pile has been through in relationships and in emotions. You've probably healed from a whole lot and really need some healing connections that show you that there is better in the world. And it seems like so does this person, and especially if they are younger, that can be, I'm not saying necessarily they're a child, although for some of you it maybe could be, but for most of you it just seems like it might be a friend or sibling or cousin or nephew or niece who is an adult but is a little younger than you are, and it could, even though they may be an adult, it could still be very formative for them, for you to, the way you treat them could be very formative for them, can really leave a lasting impression. And even if they aren't much younger than you, if it is like a new school, new workplace, new city, the way you treat them has a powerful ability to influence their relationship with that environment, their relationship with the work they do, even beyond the tenure or the length of that job, their relationship with, like we talked about, the safe haven, their relationship with their new home in this new place, if that is applicable to the situation, their field of study if you're at school, and if this is like a sort of creative sharing situation where you can give each other positive feedback and you choose not to tear each other down. That's powerful. And the best use of your energy to avoid burning out definitely goes powerfully along with the stuff we've talked about with a safe haven, the 4 feathers, rest. Don't deplete yourself. Don't become obsessive or try to overgive in this relationship to try to control the outcome and make this person open up to you faster, or to try to ensure that they will open up to you at all. Just take it slow and steady. Give yourself time to rest and give them time to rest, and offer what you're comfortable offering. Yes, this reading definitely invites you to push yourself and this other person a little bit outside the comfort zone for the sake of upliftment, spontaneity, playfulness, inner child joy, honoring the inner child and their playful impulses instead of shutting them down. So it definitely encourages you to step outside the comfort zone in that sense, and in the sense of taking a risk to show yourself that it can pay off and that you can be met with reciprocation in connections, and to show yourself that you have faith in that you are worth taking that a little risk for. Which is a powerful transmutation to go from, oh, it's too much of a risk, I don't believe enough in my own worth to believe that other people are going to accept me, to actually it is a risk, but I believe enough in my own worth that although I am risking them not accepting me, and I know that will hurt if they don't, it's not going to do me lasting harm. And I believe that I am worthy of taking a risk and risking that potential pain, because I know that acceptance is out there for me, that connection, I know I'm worthy of that, and therefore not only do I know my sense of worth can survive rejection, I also believe that it's worth the risk of rejection to go out and get myself what I am worthy of, what I deserve. So this guidebook description continues: pace yourself and concentrate on what needs to be done. Be confident in your abilities to make your dreams a reality. Yes, that's part of that worth bit I was talking about. And concentrating on what needs to be done is part of grounding yourself in the present moment. If you are someone who does tend a little bit more towards rumination, overthinking, obsessing, especially if you've had that history of anxious attachment in relationships, grounding yourself in your daily tasks so that you can naturally flow between thinking about this relationship and focusing on other pursuits in other parts of your life. You hold the power to shape your destiny to your desired outcome. If something doesn't feel right, trust in your intuition. Realize that your optimism and persistence will drive you to attain what you set out to accomplish. Belief in yourself will inspire others to follow you. Yes, so this definitely speaks to your power and ability to lead by example in this relationship. It is amazing how much you can influence the form a relationship takes, the shape it takes as it grows, by how you behave and how you treat the other person and how you treat yourself. It seems like a no-brainer and common sense once you really think about it, but so many of us do develop throughout life this very passive relationship to, I'm going to treat other people how they treat me, I'm going to wait and see how they treat me, and I'm going to match that energy. I'm not going to risk, putting more out there before I see how they treat me. And there are situations where people are going to treat you however they're going to treat you, regardless of how you step forward. But there are also many, many situations. I mean, even in those situations where how someone views you is already kind of set in their mind, there will be details that will be affected by how you respond, especially details in how you feel about yourself and perceive the situation. What about the situation you validate and affirm for yourself? But in every single situation, there is some power that you have to influence it by how you act. And while in some relationships, how the other person treats you will not change because of that, because we can't control other people, there are many relationships where that other person will kind of open and blossom from your compassion, your kindness, your reaching out. And a lot of us have not necessarily had that before because we've been drawn to repeats of cycles from patterns in our past that we were subconsciously trying to resolve. But look at the healing work that you've done. Look at the transmutation that you've done, pile 3. You're in a place where you are ready to experience a new type of relationship. And that is the healing power of this connection, this friendship, this found family for many of you. That is the healing power of this connection and of you choosing to step forward and, like the Aladdin song, show a whole new world to both yourself and this other person, and create a whole new world of beauty within your heart and your connections, by being willing to steer the ship a little bit, not in a covertly manipulative way, but in a way of, I'm going to treat this person how I want to be treated. If they don't respond, just like this guidebook said, you know how to trust your intuition and move accordingly if something doesn't feel right. But you're setting the tone, and if this reading applies to you, you are most likely in a situation where this is really going to soften the other person, nurture them, and help them profoundly in this situation in a really long-reaching way that might change both of your lives. So I'm really honored to get to bring that message through. I really hope it has resonated with you. And I really hope it has come through coherently. And yes, just to kind of reiterate one more time, trust yourself if something truly doesn't feel right. But for most of you, this is a situation where this is a powerful opportunity for a positive outcome, with the 6 of Acorns being the final wand of the final wand, 6 of Wands being the final card of the reading. This situation has a powerful potential for a positive outcome. And even if there are a few of you where that doesn't pan out, you will have learned and furthered your healing process by going through this journey and putting yourself out there. But for most of you, this is your pile because of the fruitful, nourishing outcome that this connection can have for both you and the other person, the upliftment. There we go. That this connection can bring both you and this other person. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing to step into connection bravely, wholeheartedly, compassionately. And I wish you all the best with this journey.